Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics? I didn't believe in myself, but I can't just be a coincidence.
It's as Fraudulent Detective says. Let us begin with the first verse. If you would, Fraudulent Detective.
What? You want me to sing it?
You are the witness, Jack. What do you want me to sing? I warn you, my fee as a vocalist is not trivial.
Fine, fine. Oh no. Let's look at the first part of the lyrics, shall we?
Your turn to sing, mother trucker.
When you stole away the keys to my heart, held on to so tight.
Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped key ring was stolen that morning.
Next, we go to the right page of the lyric sheet.
I think the problem here is it's not in order. Like everything had happened in an order, and then it went back. Like I think that's the problem.
When we find burning on in my heart, fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames. Like a bullet of love, fire, take my life away, all away. Mr. Latrose's life was taken by a bullet.
Bravo, Fraudulent Detective. Your singing is not bad.
Thank you.
Now for the finale.
Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky.
Don't forget to read the characters that's supposed to be talking here, Earl. You always need to make sure it's the right person. Guitar, guitar, up together to the night sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Lettuce. What I found was a guitar high in the sky over the stage. No series of coincidences could have been so well conceived.
He's right, scientifically speaking. What would Walkie have said? That concert was whack?
That concert was whack, dude.
It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that. Anyway, the shooter.
I think this is it. I think we just present a song here.
Okay, I'll let you do it.
Cause
might want to save.
Here's the deal. Because like my main issue is the order that it's in. The fleeting melody, it wraps itself around me, and now through the air I fly. This is the same time Lumar was flying. It's like maybe it was probably just referring to her flying around, because this is early in the song, and because it goes in order. Because first the keys were taken, she flies through the air, the guitar burns, and the guy dies.
Does the prosecution have any idea what he'd do to all this? Why he'd do all this? You know my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason. A deep reason?
Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts if he had a reason, and worse if he had none. I love how he sweats it. With if he has none, I really don't understand why he would do this to me.
The diva's complaints aside, I can't imagine someone doing this just on a whim.
Fraudulent Detective, I take offense to that.
Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say. Yes, this crime was planned for sure. But Mr. Leteau spoke English. He may have come to this country before. I looked into that, I assure you. Oh? It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own. Great.
You see? No one here had a motive to kill him, and certainly not such an elaborate fashion. So what the heck is Machi's motive then? Why would Machi kill him, huh? If no one in the country had a motive, then who did it? Who had a motive?
It does seem difficult to imagine. Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt.
What did you just say?
Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song?
I'm okay now, Judge. Don't you worry about it. But promise me, you won't tell anyone about this. This court's not public, right? This is totally normal, man. Of course not. And I'm quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim. Why would I need promotion? Everybody already listens to my music. Emma speaker. I don't listen to it. You're too pompous.
They're even in my textbook at school. I've never heard of them. What does that say about me? I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy. And Machi practically left her signature at the scene.
His.
What do you mean by his signature? The bullet holes in the wall, of course. The bullet holes? The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall. And that means what exactly? That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range. Difficult to miss, you'd say?
Unless they missed on purpose.
Very. Assuming that the shooter could properly aim. No, you can't be serious. Machi, he can't see. That's why he missed? It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire his gun. Poorly.
That doesn't make any sense.
How's he gonna shoot a 45 caliber revolver?
There's so many problems with accusing a blind person in this scenario. And it's all right here. There is so many things in the way. There is no way he's navigating back to that door. There is no way, and especially the ladder leading up to vent. How would he know it's there? Someone would have to tell him. Someone would have to put all this together for him. It's like
there'd be fingerprints all over the wall too, and everywhere.
Yeah, the gun's recoil is the problem too. Like, and he wouldn't know. How would he know?
How would he get behind him too?
Yeah, because also in order for those gunshots to get to that wall, he'd have to be on the opposite wall side, and then the victim would have to be in between. Why is the victim there? I feel like the shooter has to be from the window. Because they did say that you could just barely stick your hand in. That's enough to where you could like maybe get the revolver in.
My problem is, I actually do think she was in the window at the time, right? I think she flipped it open, but she didn't see. The problem is picture that window in this diagram right now. How do you get the top X bullet in there without hitting the wall in between?
Exactly. So someone did have to be in a room at some point.
And have shot.
And I mean, we don't have the window marked on this diagram, but potentially maybe. Let me.
Even if it was marked, it's definitely above the hangar.
Both of them are a stretch from the window.
Yeah.
Because I'm using my remote as kind of like a straight line. Yeah, that's a huge stretch to consider any of the shots being shot from it through the window.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me, The monitor in that room was blaring at the time, Jack. Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound.
A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me.
No, there's so many problems with this. This makes no sense. Because also, the victim would notice the first half and he would get low, and then if you wouldn't know. And then all he'd have to do is sneak up on a kid, take him down, done. There's so many problems.
Think, Justice, what do I do now?
Raise an objection for sure. Right?
No choice.
Well, let's
do it. Sure, there are bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove that the shooter couldn't see.
Oh? How so?
Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. That's certainly possible. And it might have been the revolver's fault. The revolver? The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? The shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon. Why, it could dislocate their shoulder. Exactly. The defendant, Machitobai, is, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. A kickback alone would throw off his aim. A convincing argument to be sure. Take that, smug prosecution.
What are you smiling over there, forehead? That's not a problem with that.
Apollo? Huh, what? That bit about Machi being tiny. And the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it? Yeah.
I'm just talking about an example, dude.
Oh.
Choice of words is impossible there, forehead. Make sure you know what you're talking about.
Does not matter why he missed.
Doesn't matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. No, Clavier, you're taking out of context words of us trying to describe a situation.
Yerk. Scraps, I really put my foot in it this time.
Yeah. Take your foot, stick it in. Oh. Let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Fraulein Detective.
Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. Right. From the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind.
Well, we don't have a picture of the bullet holes per se. But the other problem is it's to his back.
Yeah.
That's my other question. It's like the shot was to the back. The autopsy report doesn't specify it to the back, right?
Yeah, it only proves that there's a certain window that's currently under review, so. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that. I wouldn't call it proof, per se. Huh?
You've merely raised a possibility. Florian detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there's more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent.
Objection!
Oh wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place?
Ah, very good point. Well, following detective, if you care to explain.
Certainly seems sure of himself.
Why do I feel like at some point there's going to be a reveal he's not actually blind? Why do I keep having that sensation like, is he actually blind? What do you think, Earl? Do you think he's actually blind or no?
I think he's partially blind.
So maybe he does have some vision, but it's just not full.
Yeah. Recall the crime scene if you would. There's a stepladder below the air vent. As it happened, maintenance was scheduled for that day.
As it happens,
Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents. I don't believe it. Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machi Tobai. He would have known that there would be a way out at the top of the stepladder.
But all the other plans were in motion before you guys would have heard about that.
But why is that the first time I'm hearing about this?
You could have figured it out for yourself. You only needed to consider what the stepladder was doing there.
Looks like the defense objection has been squashed by a stepladder.
Well, there, forehead. Out of ammunition, perhaps?
I've never seen the prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Maybe he's caught in the scent of blood. Apollo, don't you have something? Anything? You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. That'll put him in its place. Proving a shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that can prove this, though?
At what point was Machi told about the song?
They never specified.
I don't think they told. They didn't specify because we know Lamar. We know Gavin's the one that wrote the words because he said he wrote the lyrics and then she was to sing it. But at any point was Machi told what the song was? He would have to be told. He wouldn't be able to read it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking off right off the bat.
What about that guy's dying message for a second? Was it wiped or squashed at any point?
Oh, that's a good point. Because it's kind of
Someone
messed up.
had to.
Someone had to have seen this and like, no, gotta wipe this up. That is actually a good point. I didn't actually think of that. I think that's probably the best thing.
Because I was wondering why it wasn't so clear. It's not like he would mess up his own work. And he was there for quite a while after he got shot.
I knew you would, Air Forehead.
What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying the shooter missed because they couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who's blind, did it. The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see. This is that evidence. The photograph of the crime scene. I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor. The crime scene. There is something here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point.
Then perhaps you best show us this something. Get your finger out and breeze. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, Ja.
Very well, show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction at the scene of the crime is... The contradiction is right here. The smeared bloodstains? I thought it was just my blurry vision. But it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture I have seen many times in this court. It's almost as if he wrote something. Aha, I get it. At least I think I get it.
Get what, Fräulein?
When Mr. Lutz was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here. That does seem to be a distinct possibility. The victim wrote the killer's name. Certainly a logical conclusion. Drat, I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that. Of course it's rubbed out. Why? If I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind.
And think about it, Judge. Would a blind person see their name written on the floor? No! Neither would I.
No one else has anything else to say?
They're putting it together. They started to realize it. Clear's just like, yeah, I wouldn't want to leave my name behind at the crime scene. Crap.
That's so funny. About what? Judge, please. So the prosecution accepts this? You agree that this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer? And not the killer tried to rub the name out? What's your point? What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name? Well, Mr. Latros was writing something in blood once the killer saw it, what it was. Wait.
Think about it. Think about it, Emma.
Oh, please. Once he saw what it was. But what, did you just testify about the shooter? I said they were blind. Heck. Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer also had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant Machi Tabai is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter. Impossible. Order, order, order. Prosecutor Gavin, please explain this to me what all this means.
It's like, I get that. I knew that the whole time. I just didn't mention it because, you know, I'm the prosecutor. I can't bring that up. My goal is to get a guilty verdict.
I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. And up until now...
It seems that was a court an apology.
Hmm?
The Gaviniers are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred during our concert. Apparently this caused some confusion over the jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner.
I'm not sure I like the vibe that I'm getting here.
What the heck are you talking about here?
Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that?
Oh, dear.
He has another push. Like he knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us.
I've got an idea. Let's rock! With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fräulein detective, if I may.
What?
Tell me, why do you think that Machitobai is blind?
Huh?
What?
Yeah. Here it goes. He has his prescription or something.
No.
Wait, maybe he has a contract. What did he say? What are you saying? Of course he's blind.
Of course?
He's a blind pianist, right? So he's... Doesn't Lamar lead him around by the hand all the time? No way.
I have a report here on the defendant, Machitobai. According to this, Machitobai can see perfectly. I freaking called it!
Maybe it was like a blind lie in the contract to get her to bring him around? To always be with him?
And see, here's the other thing. Here's the other problem. Like, I had called this out once she sent him out on his own.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, I don't like being around strangers. And, like, what the game kind of did fade away, like, as if she took him out and then she came back. But, like, that's so weird.
What?
His blindness was merely a publicity
big deal.
ploy for those clever Burgundians. He can see quite well.
What you said?
What did I say exactly? Forehead, not once in the course of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was fraudulent detective.
But that's...
A significant fact, yes. Consider, Machitobai eye sees. And he's the only one who could have fled through the airfare. I see no problem with this.
What about the bullet holes in the wall?
Yes, it's the bullet holes. I believe Forehead neatly explained those for us.
Yeah.
He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was a kickback from the 45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words.
I don't get how he shot twice. Because if the one would have dislocated his shoulder, he would have to shoot again. Ack.
I still think there has to be a second pistol. Cause I think there has to be a second pistol that did the kill shot. Because my problem is, like, from where he is, there's no way the bullets could have hit the wall.
Yeah.
The lineup doesn't make any sense. And second, like, we still haven't seen the front of the body, and I think in that image we saw, we didn't really see any blood on his front shoulder.
Okay, think of it this way. The bullet he has fires two shots, right? As far as we know, there hasn't been a third bullet fired at the scene, right? Are we still good with that?
Yeah, as far as we know.
Remember how I said there was, like, the murder occurred over blood loss and all that, and I said specifically something could have happened during the Big Bang, right? During the guitar blowing?
Yeah.
I feel like he was shot elsewhere, made his way to the dressing room, and then was defending himself with the gun and shot twice at our witness. Right? So whoever was in the room, he shot twice at. Maybe he shot at the boy, and the boy was actually there, and the boy ran away, and he's innocent. And then someone, maybe she thought, maybe she shot through the window at him. I don't know. I'm kind of out there, but I feel like he got hit elsewhere. When he shot twice, the boy skedaddled, right? But he was already a dead man anyways. Right, because
the problem is, I don't remember there being that much blood on the scene either.
Yeah, he could walk, right? The problem is like, he was allowed in. He could have... the question is how Emma Sky would have let him in, right? She would have saw he had blood on him. Right. There would be blood found in the events, so they would have pointed that out, and that would have brought us elsewhere. As to how he got there.
How's that? I'm afraid your objection has blown off the brass gas.
Sure.
This is where the real fun begins, there, forehead.
Yar.
I love the feature here. I knew you didn't have what it took.
You jerk. Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize.
Haha. Oh, sorry.
That's no way to apologize. I think it's trucy now, look out. If we could please end the bickering now. Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me. But your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant. Don't say that. Ha 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 ha. Aha, what? This bloodstain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right? That seems to be what happened, yes. So what did he wipe it off with? We might be able to find out what was really written here. Really? You can do that? That's right, with this, luminol. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it. It's a chemical that reacts to blood.
I guess. Have we done those tests yet?
Ha! As if I'm going to tell you.
Bloodstain covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request a hearing in court now. Yeah, that's
we go.
Not much blood. Wait,
right,
we're doing it?
Apollo. Huh? I have to do the test. You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple. Why would we make the defense do it? A chemical that would be the bailiff responsibility. If anything. Chemical that reacts to blood. I heard of this somewhere. Yes, I believe an analysis called for. Have at it.
Why'd you just do that in Emma's voice?
The judge has been kicked in the balls. I believe analysis is called for. Have at it. Right, ready? It's easy as pie. Just press A to spray an area. Here, give it a try. The eyes of the entire court are focused on me. Apollo, your hand is shaking.
Apollo's just starts shaking. I'm scared.
I'd be nervous. Why would you make him do it if he's nervous? Let's do this.
What the?
Code. Wow, it really works. EpicMike16
What the heck?
That must be the power of science.
Oh, it's a double X.
It's not pi. 3.1415, so 206, not pi.
But it auto-scrolled there.
Maybe it is if the killer was a robot.
Aha! I have it.
So, what is it?
I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number.
Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency?
Oh?
Oh.
Yes, most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. Was our victim an international police officer? That would be the motive for someone to kill him. But why would he write that number?
I bet you it's his friend. How would Mr. Latos even know a number like that?
Good show, Fräulein Detective. Rocka.
Eh?
Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Daria.
It is him.
No, I think Darian's the one that can look it up.
I think it's Darian's number.
Darian, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Darian, you heard what we need. Go check this Interpol ID number. Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27.
Oh, it's not his then. I'm not sure what to think of all this. Prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet if the number is really that of an Interpol agent... Oh wait, I know! What if Machi Tobias is really an undercover Interpol agent? I was thinking that.
That would be a possibility.
A possibility, yes. And one that would mark him the killer for certain. Why did Latos know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know.
Hold you some time while we wait for Drayon's report. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? Curious mystery concerning Machi Tobias.
What are you talking about?
Fräulein Detective, please accept my apology. I received word that the defendant could in fact see just before the trial began. Seemed not too much of a bother to tell you.
You had me into that last bit.
I received it just before trial, and I could have told you, but you know, I just couldn't be bothered. Besides, it's more fun this way when I'm the only one that knows it. I can just laugh at everyone else. Does it not raise a rather straightforward question?
Why pose?
I think it's
Sure.
Does he really not know English?
Why did Machi pretend he
That
couldn't
too.
see?
Exactly. Makes a little sense. Why do you think, Air Forehead?
Huh, me?
Machi Tobias pretended he was blind. Do you know why?
How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he? He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time.
Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is some kind of game? No, the moment I heard the report, I knew why.
I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else. What does that have to do with anything?
There was a reason why Machi Tobias pretended to be blind. But it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now?
He's her bodyguard. It wasn't for himself. Well, Mr. Justice? Can you present evidence to show us why the defendant had to feign blindness?
Why is this coming to my mind?
Let's see. Pop it in. Sightseeing, Mosaic.
Sightseeing. Why?
If he was blind, if he wasn't blind, maybe that would, like, devalue her opinion?
Maybe? Why is this sticking out to me?
What else we got?
We got the lyrics sheet. I don't think there's anything in here that would relates to sight, does it? Nothing directly related to sight. But it's the only thing that really has any kind of connection to him.
To any background for name information, yeah. She goes on this musical tour and talks about and is interpreted by the manager for things that she sees. If he saw, theoretically, it would be his opinion, but
we'll see what happens.
Machi had no reason to pretend he couldn't see. Which means, no, it couldn't be.
Good show, Air Forehead. Seems he's out of some.
Why can't I figure these things out on my own? I hate having to take my cues from this guy. Very well, look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see.
I feel like it's this, man. I don't know why, but this is sticking out to me. Like, especially because it says sightseeing.
Yeah.
Like, that seems very interesting. Like, he's a part of this tour, and it's titled Sightseeing.
It's probably the reason she's doing music like that anyways, is to show him the world. Right? And so he has to...
Yes!
That is Lamar. Lamar and Mochi Tobai. Recall their relationship. In particular, their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country. Lamar and her pianist. They would always walk together, she's leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him. That's right, because he was blind. She led him all times, never letting him go. All times, hmm? Yet, we have just learned something that makes their arrangement peculiar indeed. Machi could see. Why did they have to keep this act the whole time? Well, wasn't that part of their performance? I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. That could only mean one thing. Really? Really. It was all the other way around. I knew it!
Is she blind?
She's blind! I freaking knew it! The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lemurrar.
What? That makes her testimony extremely suspicious now. Her testimony is extremely suspicious.
She knew about the window. How she loses her brooch is huge. The entire musical performance, how she transported from one side to the other.
What?
What's this? So you mean to say that Lamar is... She's... Yes, Your Honor. Lamar is blind. What?
And Clavier would know this the whole time.
Order, order, order. This is crazy. Prosecutor Gavin.
He would have to have known. There's no way he wouldn't have known she was blind.
Is it now?
Is it now?
Wait, if she was blind and she exited the room and she dropped her earpiece, he wouldn't have been able to pick it up.
That too.
Please shed some light on the sanity on this madness.
And maybe that's what her earpiece was for. Is like someone like was direct, like talking to her and be like, "Hey, this is here, like verbally describing what's around her."
The defense has made an outrageous claim.
The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead. Yet I see that it's not vast in vain this time. He's quite correct.
And that works out for him in the prosecutor's end. Because... But that makes no sense. Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter of the sound or something?
Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lenoir herself? I believe she is still in the witness waiting room.
Apollo, what does this mean for our case? Don't ask me, I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now. She had to be led by police to the room as well and wait. Bailiff, bring in Lamore! But that also shuts his door theory.
Yeah, her testimony is extremely suspicious now. Like, there's so much wrong with her testimony now.
Yeah.
Lamore, it pains me deeply to call you up before us again in this way. And yet I must. Please, do not be concerned on my behalf.
Ozai, she really can't see. Really?
It is true. How funny is it that a tiny lie born in Virginia countryside would one day grow to entangle the entire world?
So you are?
Yes, as I mentioned before. I have no memory of the time before I became Lenoir. No too that my memories begin in darkness. The word light has no meaning in Lenoir.
I see.
You may recall me saying something toward the beginning of her trial, the trial airforehand.
What's that?
I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witnesses. Bruh.
Ah.
Now, Lenoir, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes? Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. Though I admit I'm a little lost here. I think we're all a little bit lost here, Your Honor.
I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
But this is a murder trial.
I apologize. It was part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret, no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would. She told us the truth in the beginning, which is she saw nothing.
Very well. Does the defense have anything to add? I'd like to cross-examine. But what is there left to ask? There was one thing in her testimony that bothered me.
Perhaps it's best I would let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself.
Very well. The defense may proceed. However, beware, this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful for the witness.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, there was only one part that bothered me. Let me ask about that and I'll be happy.
probably this one, right?
Yeah. Who was the producer, right? Perhaps your music reminded him of the Borginian scenery?
Ha ha ha. No, it was quite the opposite.
The opposite?
According to my producer, my music has a certain global quality.
Global?
Multicultural, if you will. Hard to pin to one region. When people listen to it, they pick a country closest to their hearts. Which is why my music has reached so many.
What a lovely story.
Sounds like this producer might have known what he was doing after all. My songs are nothing more than a white canvas. To me, the real landscape painters are the listeners. When I think of that, I do not mind how I'm represented to the world so much. Yet one thing quickly led to another. Because it wasn't that. Maybe this? Maybe trying to figure out who knew?
When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latos?
Of course. He was my manager.
So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me.
Because, yeah, if he's trying to write that message for her, she would never have seen it.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
I believe I know what it is as bothering young defense attorney. You were thinking of when you discovered the body, yes?
Yeah, she had to come in and see.
Yeah, he knew. He had to have known she was in there and, like, maybe he mentioned something to her?
Is he right, Apollo? Who sent her in, then? Yes, I was. He's alive. Toast, can you hear me?
We'll just skip the behind the scenes. We'll kind of just quickly read it. Cold.
Yeah.
He was just saying he can't see. Is that what this is? What is he's just saying he was telling us he can't see.
Yeah.
Witness is siren.
Ask the witness and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind.
I don't know. Tisk. What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself.
Meaning what?
There's no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more.
The witness siren. We heard them many times along with our little play acting by our defense.
I remember them well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that.
Before? What came before that?
That's right. He tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness.
I see.
Too bad defense did not. Well, there, forehead. Try relaxing and looking at the facts of us see it next time.
Order.
Recall Lumoir's earlier testimony. I was on my way back from the stage to the backstage exit. There were two shots. Couldn't do anything to stop it.
couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that.
That's not the most important point here.
Hmm?
The moment he was shot, Mr. Latouche witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as a witness?
Ah. But he said it was closed.
But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots.
Where was she?
And the man's voice. Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We've already run a simulation, of course. But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know in an instant. Your Honor!
What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in session here?
We had the results back from the investigation.
The investigation?
Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latouche left us.
Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescend, your report, please. She's gonna notice him.
Ask the Interpol about that number. She'll find an answer in tree. Quick work as always, Dragon.
Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent?
IPXX 314206. Leader breaks her under that number. Was Romain Latouche.
I knew it was. I figured it was his own.
Why is he write his own number?
I can't see him shooting himself.
There's literally no way he shot himself. What? What did you just say, man? Our undercover agent was Mr. Latouche himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation.
So when he wrote those letters...
He was trying to tell us his own identity. And a curious killer tried to wipe it away.
So there's something bigger happening. Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent. So him being Lamar's manager, just a cover. Was just a cover, most likely.
One important detail I found. Well, out with it. Concerns that .45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently, it belonged to Romain Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms. And the registration number on that revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. So I would imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver.
So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything. It's gotta tie in somehow, you'd think. Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into it for us, Detective Crescend. It's a great help.
Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. It's gonna be her. Hold it. It's her.
Yeah.
Wait.
Lamore, is something the matter?
That voice just now.
Yeah, it's Crescent.
Oh, Daryon? Mr. Daryon, is it? It was him. I am sure of it.
I knew it. It was him?
You aren't saying? That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Daryon. Is this some kind of joke?
Oh shit!
What?
What?
What? No way!
The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get the accusation like that one. Lamore, fingering Darian Cosent. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lamore heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no whipping out now, Apollo.